Art has been a part of Schiphol for years on end. Sometimes obvious, sometimes subtle, these works inspire the millions of travellers who visit our airport every year during their journeys, whether arriving or departing. The podcast series, Art Moments Schiphol, introduces you to the stories behind the artworks, guided by the creators themselves. Let's take a look, shall we? This episode, we're meeting Marijke de Goey, creator of The Two Voyages. You've probably heard the saying, reading between the lines. In art and design, this refers to negative space, and negative space is the empty space around and between an object. It can evoke an image, a silhouette, or a message. Nobody is better at playing with this space as the renowned Dutch artist Marijke de Goey. As you walk down this terminal, they're definitely hard to miss, the long blue lines towering high over the stream of people. At first glance, it looks like an abstract construction. But I challenge you. Take a minute and really look. Let the space which has been left empty illuminate the rest of the image. There. You see it? They're people. Two travellers with their arms outstretched. They seem to be in good spirits and are about to lift off. Their maker is Marijke de Goey. De Goey is an award-winning Dutch artist whose work spans a massive range of forms, from sculptures to bridges, from jewellery to poetry. As you heard her say, she makes big works and small works. But this is quite coy. Some of her works are 32-metre bridges, and some are delicate, fine rings for your pinky finger. In an artistic context, her works can be identified by their dynamic, geometric shapes. Lines, squares, cubes. She's always been interested in exploring a human dimension, as you can see in the work here at Schiphol. She believes that imagination changes everything, and that illusions create space. At the moment, Marijke de Goey is in a nursing home near Vondelpark in Amsterdam. This is due to a number of epileptic seizures she has recently had. Fortunately, we were able to visit her to interview her about her work. We spoke with her in her room. A room full of books on art, photos of her own artworks from around the world, and models of them. Her room exudes art. She herself is lying in bed, and next to her bed sits Ronald, her assistant of over 20 years. He knows everything about her work. De Goey often tells us that she misses creating, how much she enjoys it. But what makes her most enthusiastic about her work?
I actually enjoy working with people tremendously. I really enjoy that. I like all hang-ups and types. And one can be just as challenging as another. To be honest, I'm not very good at sketching, but better at making.
Do you remember any games you played as a kid? And have you ever dreamt about making a career out of them? Well, de Goey did. As a little girl, de Goey often folded paper hats with her mother and sister, and when she unfolded them, she was far more fascinated with the lines left on the paper. Inspiration can really come from anywhere. In her later career as an artist, she returned to that folding and put the principle into practice, but this time with a more rigid material, metal. These two voyages are made of steel, and despite their massive size, they look like they're in movement. The metal is bent in different ways, creating exciting loops and curves. From every angle, the sculpture looks different, promising a new experience. Imagine trying to bend metal. How does one begin to create and install a work like this? If you find yourself close to these two voyages, you might take a wander around them. Can you see where they are attached? Looks like magic. And how did they even get there? Probably not through the main entrance. Besides at Schiphol, her artworks can be found all across the globe. In her room, we can see a picture of one of them.
Well, those are from New Zealand. That's Tango Dancer behind you. We measure at 18 meters. There are always such fun tricks in those faraway countries. In New Zealand, they have all these poles, how the electricity is transported. And then they said, how are we supposed to transport that statue? And then I said, oh, not so difficult, just with a helicopter. You know, sometimes a solution is very obvious. So that then went by helicopter. But I find the whole process interesting, working with the builders, engineer and structural engineer and all those kinds of people, so I work with that. First of all, by working with the same plant. And they know you in the long run. I go to them or they go to you.
Sketching, consulting, building, transporting, all elements integral to the creation of a big artwork. And in this creation process, she works with all kinds of people. As she said, she enjoys working with people tremendously. However, there's one important feature we have not spoken about yet: the brilliant blue color. De Goey likes to work with this color blue. In the Dutch art scene, this exact color of blue has even become known as the Marijke blue or De Goey blue. And its brilliant hue is no accident. In the Netherlands, the weather is always changing. We have to deal with a lot of seasons and their colors, like spring's light green, summer's yellow, the autumn's red, and the grey tint of winter. De Goey figured that bright blue really pops and catches the eye, no matter the forecast.
The earth is blue. If you look up from the land, it's often blue too. I look very closely at everything.
Blue is a color Marijke finds back in nature. And nature is what inspires Marijke. Another trademark of the color blue is its roots in Dutch culture, namely Delft's blauw. These two in particular are coated with automobile paint, strong and resilient, even if a baggage cart or suitcase accidentally hits one of the legs. To keep them bright blue, once in a while they get a new coat.
And I always tell people, if you see trash lying around those two, take it away.
Upkeep and admiration. The airport celebrates art and artists. And Schiphol is known territory to De Goey. Her internationally renowned pieces have taken her across the globe. Next to her own practice, she has a beautiful gift of teaching others. She likes to keep busy.
No, I haven't had a vacation for 15, 17 years. But I travel with my work, I always say. Really, I love my work. In New Zealand, for example, my client lived both in London and in New Zealand. And then we would pick something in London, and I would make a model. So I flew to New Zealand. So then I came back after a day of flying, and then I took my car, and then I went to teach at the evening academy. That was a lot of fun. Evening students I like more than day students. They were more active.
It's clear from De Goey's story that she loves working with people, whether it's the engineers, constructors, or students. And this togetherness or connection is what you see in these two voyages.
I was asked if I wanted to make a sculpture at Schiphol Airport about people traveling. And, well, first I start drawing and sketching. And in consultation with Nel van Schuren, that was the interior designer who was still alive at the time. And then it was said, no 3 times and yes once. And it's kind of 2 figures, huh? Well, a lot of people don't travel alone, they travel together. There are 2 travelers with 2 feet in the ground.
Schiphol is not the only place she can be spotted. The theme of travel is found throughout all of De Goey's work. De Goey is the only Dutch visual artist ever asked to design a train for the principal passenger railway operator in the Netherlands, the NS, the interior and the exterior. De Goey designed it all, alongside some engineers. Everything you see in the compartment was conceived by her. The art on the walls, the partition windows and doors, the coat hooks, and the wavy pattern of the luggage racks. According to her, the seat covers have sweet little mumfles, a cubed pattern. On some of the walls in the compartment, her signature can still be found just above the travel information screen.
Well, it always starts at the beginning with the question you get, do you want to do this? And I like traveling very much. And I called them mumpeltjes, But people always think I only designed the upholstery, but that's very untrue. I also designed the front and the back of the train.
Take a step back and take a look at our two voyages. Stretching out, their steel lines catch your eye and then journey on, twisting and turning. Here at Schiphol Airport, they represent us, the traveller, embarking on our next adventure. And I don't know about you, but the lines that de Goey has drawn feel like a simple celebration, a feeling of freedom. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. Make sure to keep your eyes peeled as you move through the terminals. Schiphol Airport is filled to the brim with exciting sculptures, paintings, and mixed media artworks. If you're hopping on a plane, I wish you a safe journey. If you're tuning in from home, make sure to join me as we explore some other Schiphol artworks. For example, Real Time by Dutch artist Maarten Baas. Thank you for joining me.